Hi, I am Professor Ramakrishna Shastri. I am a faculty in law for CA. Today, let us discuss the contract and tort, the distinction between the two. A contract is an agreement enforceable by law. So, first of all, parties enter into a contract, agreement with each other. When they contemplate about legal consequences, in other words, they have an intention to create legal relationship between them, then the same agreement becomes a contract. So first, there is an agreement, and that agreement, when becomes enforceable in the court of law, is called a contract. So you find an obligation or a legal enforceability in a contract. This legal enforceability or an obligation arises from an agreement. I repeat, first an agreement is made, then it becomes a contract. Contract has an obligation or a legal enforceability. In the reverse direction, if you see, whenever there is a legal obligation and in its background there is an agreement, then it will be called as a contract. So, behind a legal obligation, if you find an agreement, then it is a contract. Now, suppose there is a legal obligation, but in the background there is no agreement, then you call it as tort. Tort is a civil wrong. I repeat, behind a legal obligation, if there is no agreement, then it is called tort. To make this point clear, let me give an example. Early in the morning, an old man takes his dog for a morning walk. There is a legal obligation imposed on the old man that his dog shall not bite anyone. This legal obligation is not supported by an agreement in the background. The old man has not entered into an agreement with every member of the society by which he promises or gives an undertaking that his dog will not bite anyone. So the obligation is imposed on him without an agreement in the background. So if the dog bites any passerby, you call it as tort. It's a civil wrong. The owner of the dog is punished and not the dog. These two concepts are very important for us to understand the quasi-contracts which will be discussed later on. Now, let us see what a voidable contract is. When 6 conditions which are necessary for a contract to be valid are satisfied, we say that the contract is valid. What are the 6 conditions we have seen in the previous lecture? Valid offer, valid acceptance, lawful consideration, competent parties, legality of object, free and voluntary consent. When all the 6 conditions are satisfied, we say that the contract is valid. The 6th condition is free and voluntary consent. Consent means acceptance. Consent is given by the offeree. When the offeree gives consent, he should give it wholeheartedly without being influenced by anybody. In other words, he must use his free will to give his consent. His consent should be free and voluntary. Suppose the consent is influenced by certain factors, then we say that the promisee's consent is affected. It is not free, it is not voluntary. Now the contract is voidable at the option of the promisee. Since the promisee's consent is affected because of some factor, promisee is given the privilege in law to avoid the contract. You call this as voidable contract. How does the voidability arise? It arises because of factors called as vitiating factors. For instance, coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, and mistake to some extent are responsible for affecting the consent of the promisee. When the promisee's consent is affected because of any of these factors, the contract is voidable at his option. For example, A aims a gun at B and compels him to sell his BMW car to him for a price of 1000 rupees. For the fear of being killed, B agrees to transfer the car and hands over the keys and RC book. A pays him 1000 rupees. In this contract, A is the promisor, B is the promisee. B's consent to deliver the car is not given freely and voluntarily. Because of the threat to life, B was compelled to give his acceptance and delivery of the car. Now, B can go to court and plead that his consent was affected because of coercion, a vitiating factor, and he can plead the court to rescind the contract. That is, to cancel the contract and restore the original position. Now the court may cancel the contract, that is rescission, an order for rescission, by which B gets back his car and B is ordered to repay the money to A. You call this as voidable contract. So, in any voidable contract, the promisee's consent is affected by any of the 5 vitiating factors. Promisee may treat the contract as valid also. Suppose in the above example, the promisee decides not to go to court. Even though his consent was affected by coercion, he decides not to go to court. Now, it is understood that his consent was never affected by any factors, any vitiating factors. If he decides to go to court, then the court may order for cancellation or rescission of the contract. If he decides not to go to court, law presumes that his consent was never affected and therefore the contract will be regarded as valid contract. Let us see more about the other parts of the Contract Act in the forthcoming lectures. Thank you.